The great hall of the Galactic Assembly stretched for miles in every direction. Lights from 1,000 different star systems floated above like captured fireflies. Delegates from 9,000 civilizations sat in their designated seats, each one representing a world that had learned to travel between stars. At the center of this massive chamber stood Ambassador. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue and her eyes held the wisdom of 300 years. But today, she would speak about humans. "Thank you all for coming," she said. Her voice carried through the hall without effort. Translation devices turned her words into languages that clicks, whistles, and thoughts could understand. "Today, I will explain Directive 7 Omega to our members." A holographic image appeared above her. It showed a small blue planet floating in the darkness of space. Earth, the third rock from an unremarkable yellow star. "This is the human," continued. "They call it Earth. They have lived there for approximately 300,000 of their years. They developed space travel only recently. They have not yet left their own star system in any meaningful way." A delegate from the consortium raised one of its many arms. Its body looked like a walking plant with too many branches. "Ambassador, why do we waste time discussing such a primitive species? They are barely out of their caves." Smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "That is exactly what I am here to explain." She waved her hand, and the holographic display changed. Now it showed ancient records, video footage that the elders had collected over thousands of years. "The elders have watched humanity since before most of your civilizations existed," said. "They watched humans discover fire and immediately use it to burn their enemies. They watched humans invent the wheel and immediately use it to build war chariots. They watched humans split the atom and immediately build weapons that could destroy cities in seconds." The footage showed a mushroom cloud rising over a human city. The delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "The humans did this to themselves," said quietly. "They dropped this weapon on their own kind, not once but twice, to end a war." "Barbaric," someone muttered. "Perhaps," agreed. "But consider this. They split the atom using mathematics done on paper. They reached their moon using computers less powerful than the toys their children play with. They mapped their own genetic code and immediately began editing it." She paused to let her words sink in. "The elders have a term for species like humanity. They call them persistent achievers. These are species that do not accept limits. Tell them something is impossible, and they will spend generations proving you wrong. Not because they need to, not because it benefits them, but simply because they refuse to be told no." The holographic display changed again. It showed humans climbing mountains, diving into ocean depths, flying through the air in fragile machines, walking on their moon in suits held together by hope and determination. "But that is not why the elders fear them," said. Her voice dropped lower. "They fear humans because of their spite." "Spite?" the delegate asked. "Humans have a saying," explained. "They will cut off their own nose to spite their face. It means they will hurt themselves if it means hurting their enemy more. They will burn down their own house if there is a spider inside. They will walk through fire just to prove a point." She brought up more footage. Wars, endless wars. Humans fighting humans across every continent, across every century. Never stopping, never surrendering, fighting until the last breath. "Every civilization in this assembly eventually evolved past violence," said. "You learned that war was wasteful. You developed diplomacy. You grew wise and peaceful." She looked around the hall. "Humans never did. They simply got better at hiding it. They smile. They shake hands. They say please and thank you. But underneath they are still the same creatures who invented the sword, the gun, and the nuclear bomb. They have never lost their edge." The chamber was completely silent now. 3,000 cycles ago, the elders made a decision," continued. "They could have contacted humanity. They could have uplifted them, shared technology, brought them into the galactic community. Instead, they created Directive 7 Omega. The holographic display showed a simple document with a single rule written in light. Directive 7 Omega states that no member of the Galactic Assembly shall make contact with humanity. No member shall interfere with their development. No member shall observe them closely enough to be detected. And above all, no member shall provoke them. But why? A young delegate asked. If they are so dangerous, why not simply eliminate them while they are still weak? Laughed, it was not a happy sound. The elders considered it, they ran simulations. In every scenario where they attacked humanity, humans survived. Not all of them, sometimes only a handful, but those survivors would spend the rest of their existence hunting down whoever attacked them. Across generations, across centuries, they would never stop, they would never forgive, they would never forget. She closed the holographic display. The elders decided that the safest option was to leave humanity alone. Let them develop at their own pace. Let them spread to their nearby stars, and hope that by the time they become truly powerful, they have also become wise enough not to use that power. Step down from the podium. So we watch, we wait, we do not contact, we do not interfere, and we pray to whatever gods we believe in that no one is foolish enough to break the directive. She looked around the chamber one final time. Because the elders believe that humanity is the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because of what they are now, but because of what they could become if someone gives them a reason to unite. She walked away, leaving 9,000 delegates in stunned silence. None of them noticed the young commander watching from the shadows, a smile of arrogance on his face. He had a different opinion about humans. He would soon learn how wrong he was. Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crushing Claw. He was tall for his species, with hard gray skin and 4 arms that could break steel. His eyes were black like the void between stars, and his teeth were sharp enough to tear through metal. The Dominion had joined the Galactic Assembly 600 cycles ago. They were young by galactic standards, aggressive, hungry for power. They had conquered 12 star systems and enslaved dozens of lesser species. They believed strength was the only law that mattered, and was the strongest of them all. "Report," he commanded, his voice like gravel grinding against stone. His tactical officer, a nervous young named Bora, stepped forward. "Sir, our scout ships have found something interesting in Sector 447, a small colony on a planet called 442b. "What species?" "Humans, sir." His thin lips pulled back in what might have been a smile. "Humans, the species the elders are so afraid of. Show me." The main screen flickered to life. It showed a green and blue world, smaller than there but rich with resources. On its surface sat a colony of simple buildings surrounded by farmland and mining operations. "They call it new," Bora continued. "Population is approximately 12,000, mostly miners and farmers. They have a small security force, but their weapons are primitive. Basic projectile guns, a few defensive turrets, nothing that could threaten our fleet." Studied the screen with growing interest. This is what the elders fear, farmers with guns. "Sir," another voice spoke up. It belonged to senior advisor. He was old for his gray skin wrinkled and from decades of battle. "I must advise caution. Directive 7 Omega exists for a reason. The elders do not make rules without purpose." Turn to face the old warrior. The elders are ancient fools who have forgotten what it means to be strong. They hide behind rules and diplomacy because they no longer have the courage to fight. "Perhaps," said carefully, "but the humans have never been tested. We do not know what they are capable of." "I know exactly what they are capable of," snapped. "Nothing, look at them. Soft skin, no claws, no armor. They cannot even breathe in space without their little suits. They are prey animals pretending to be predators." Bowed his head. "As you say, Commander, but may I ask what you intend to do?" turned back to the screen. His black eyes reflected the image of the human colony. "I intend to take what is theirs. Their planet has rich deposits of rare minerals. Their people will make good workers in our mines. And when we are done, the galaxy will see that the elders were wrong to fear these creatures." "The Assembly will not approve," warned. "The Assembly is weak," replied. "They talk and debate while real warriors take action. By the time they finish arguing about what to do, the colony will already be ours." He raised one of his forearms and pointed at the screen. "Signal the fleet, we attack at dawn." The fleet numbered 30 warships. Each one was armed with plasma cannons and missile batteries powerful enough to crack mountains. Against them, the humans had nothing but hope and courage. The attack began as the planet's sun rose over the horizon, descended like angry hornets, burning through the atmosphere and landing in the fields outside the colony. Human security forces responded immediately, but their bullets bounced harmlessly off armor. A young human woman named stood at the front of the defense line. She was 32 years old, the head of colony security, and she had never seen real combat before. Now she watched as armored aliens twice her size marched toward her people. "Fall back to the shelters," she shouted. "Protect the children." But there was nowhere to fall back to. They surrounded the colony within hours. Their soldiers moved through the streets, kicking down doors and dragging humans from their homes. The fighting lasted 2 days. 2 days of desperate resistance. 2 days of humans throwing themselves against an enemy they could not defeat. In the end, 4,000 humans lay dead. 8,000 more were captured. They were herded into makeshift prison camps, separated from their families, and told they would now work for the Dominion. Was among the survivors. She knelt in the dirt with her hands bound behind her back, watching as soldiers burned the bodies of her friends. Blood ran down her face from a wound on her forehead, but she did not look away. Commander walked past her, his boots crushing the flowers that the colonists had planted beside their homes. "See how easy it was," he said to who followed behind him. "The elders were cowards, these humans are nothing." He did not notice staring at him, with hatred burning in her eyes. He did not see one of his soldiers pulling a communication device from a dead human's hand. He did not know that before she died, a young engineer named had sent a message, a distress signal wrapped in a code that only humans could understand. It raced through space at faster-than-light speeds, bouncing from relay to relay, heading toward a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. The message was simple. "We are under attack. They are killing us. Please help." Earth received the message 18 hours later. And everything changed. Returned to his ship feeling victorious. He recorded a message for his government, boasting about his conquest. He sent reports to the Galactic Assembly, daring them to challenge him. He went asleep that night believing he had proven the elders wrong. He had no idea that he had just made the worst mistake in the history of his species. Somewhere in the depths of space, humanity was waking up. And they were very, very angry. Deep beneath the mountains of the Korean peninsula, there was a bunker that did not exist on any map. It had no name, no official records. Even most government leaders did not know it was there. This was where Admiral worked. She was 73 years old. Her hair had turned completely white decades ago, and her face was lined with the weight of secrets she could never share. She had served her country and her planet for 50 years, preparing for a day she hoped would never come. That day had finally arrived. "Admiral," Captain Minu said, rushing into her office. He was young, barely 30, with the kind of nervous energy that came from carrying terrible news. "We have received a transmission from outside the solar system." Looked up from her desk. Her eyes were sharp despite her age. "Show me." Minu placed a tablet in front of her. On the screen was a message written in Korean. Simple words, desperate words. "We are under attack. They are killing us. Please help." Below the message was data, coordinates, video footage, images of alien warships descending on a colony that had helped establish 30 years ago. She watched in silence as the footage played. She saw humans fighting and dying. She saw children being dragged from their parents. She saw bodies burning in the streets of a town called New. When the footage ended, sat very still. "How many dead?" she asked quietly. 4,000 confirmed, Minyu replied. His voice cracked. 8,000 captured. We believe they are being held as prisoners. Who did this? We do not know yet. The ships do not match anything in our database. We are analyzing their design now. Stood up slowly. Her joints ached, but she ignored the pain. She walked to a window that showed only rock and concrete. For a long moment she said nothing. "Wake the council," she said finally. "All of them, every nation, every leader who knows about this facility." "Admiral, it is 3 in the morning in most of the world." "I do not care if it is the end of the world," replied. "Wake them now." She turned to face Minyu directly. "And activate Project Horizon." Minyu's face went pale. "Admiral, Project Horizon is not ready. The ships have never been tested in real combat. The weapons are experimental. Half of the systems are held together with temporary fixes and prayers." "Then we will pray very hard," said. "Someone just murdered our children. Someone just told the entire universe that humans are weak, that we are prey, that we can be attacked without consequence." She walked past Minyu toward the door. "We are going to prove them wrong." Within 1 hour, the leaders of Earth's major nations gathered in a virtual meeting. They represented countries that had been enemies for centuries, countries that still disagreed on almost everything. But tonight, they all wore the same expression. Cold fury. 4,000 dead, the American president said. Civilians, farmers, children. "We cannot let this stand," the Chinese premier agreed. "If we do nothing, every species in the galaxy will see us as targets." Project Horizon was built for exactly this situation, the European Union representative added. "We always suspected we were not alone. We always suspected that first contact might not be friendly." Admiral stood before them all, her image projected in every capital on Earth. "Project Horizon consists of 200 warships hidden in bases across the solar system," she explained. "They were built in secret over the past 40 years. Their technology is based on physics that our public scientists have not yet discovered. Faster-than-light travel, energy weapons, shielding systems." "Where did this technology come from?" someone asked. "We reverse-engineered it from crashed alien probes that we found decades ago," admitted. "We never told the public because we did not want to cause panic, but we knew this day might come. We prepared." The leaders looked at each other. Old grudges and political disagreements suddenly seemed very small. "What do you need from us?" the Indian Prime Minister asked. "Your permission," replied, "and your trust. The ships are crewed by soldiers from every nation. They have trained together for years. They are ready. But this will not be a police action. This will be war. And I need to know that when we find whoever did this, I have the authority to do whatever is necessary to bring our people home." The vote was unanimous. Within 72 hours, 200 ships launched from hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and the asteroid belt. They gathered in formation beyond the orbit of Neptune, their hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. Admiral stood on the bridge of the flagship, a massive vessel called the Fury of Seoul. Around her, officers from a dozen different countries worked side by side. Korean, American, Chinese, Russian, European, African. They wore different uniforms, spoke different languages, but today they were all one thing. "Human." "Admiral," the navigation officer reported. "Course is set. We can reach the target system in 6 days." 6 days, repeated. She looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 8,000 of her people were waiting, hopping, praying that someone would come for them. "Let us go get our family back," she said. The engines roared to life. Space itself seemed to bend around the fleet as they accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. But they would learn soon enough. Humanity was done hiding. Humanity was done being afraid. And humanity was very, very angry. The Galactic Assembly was in chaos. Every screen in every government building across 9,000 civilizations showed the same thing: a fleet of human ships moving through space at impossible speeds. They crossed distances in hours that should have taken months. They bent the laws of physics like children bending toys. Elder watched from her ancient chamber, her 1,000-year-old eyes wide with something she had not felt in centuries. "Fear. How is this possible?" a younger elder demanded. "They were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be trapped in their own system." "They lied," said quietly. "Or rather, they let us believe what we wanted to believe. They hid their true capabilities." "But the energy requirements for that kind of travel," another elder protested. "The mathematics alone would take centuries to develop." "Humans do not care about mathematics," replied. "They care about results. If the universe tells them something is impossible, they simply find another way." She turned to face the emergency council. "We need to warn Commander. The humans are coming for him." "He will not listen," someone said. "He believes humans are weak." "Then he will learn otherwise very soon." Commander received the warnings and laughed. 200 ships, he said to his officers. "We have 500 defending our system, and our technology is far superior to anything these primitives could build." Stood in the corner, saying nothing. He had seen the footage of the human fleet. He had watched how they moved through space like ghosts, appearing and disappearing without warning. He did not share his commander's confidence. "They will be here in 2 days, Bora reported nervously. "Our defense grid is at full power. All orbital stations are armed and ready." "Good," said. "When they arrive, we will crush them, and then the whole galaxy will know that the Dominion fears nothing." 2 days later, the human fleet appeared at the edge of space. They did not come quietly. Admiral stood on the bridge of the Fury of Sol, watching the enemy formation on her tactical display. 500 warships arranged in a defensive pattern around there, orbital stations bristling with weapons, defense satellites covering every approach. "Analysis complete," her tactical officer reported. "Their weapons are plasma-based, effective range of 50,000 kilometers. Their shields can withstand approximately 300 direct hits before failing." "In ours?" asked. "Our weapons have an effective range of 200,000 kilometers. Our shields can take over 1,000 hits. Admiral, we outclass them in every category." Nodded slowly. "Open a channel, all frequencies. I want every in this system to hear me." The communication officer pressed a button. "Channel open, Admiral." Straightened her uniform and spoke. "This is Admiral of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked our colony. You have killed our people. You have taken our citizens prisoner." Her voice was calm, cold, like ice forming over a deep lake. "You have 1 hour to release all human prisoners unharmed. If you do not, we will come and take them back ourselves, and you will not enjoy the experience." The response came quickly. Commander's face appeared on screen, his black eyes filled with contempt. "You dare threaten the Dominion. Your ships are impressive, human, but you are outnumbered. Surrender now, and I may let some of you live as slaves." Smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "You have made a terrible mistake, Commander. You thought we were weak because we were peaceful. You thought we were prey because we did not attack others, but we were never weak. We were patient. There is a difference." She cut the communication. "They have made their choice," she said to her crew. "All ships begin attack." The battle lasted 4 hours. It was not a fight, it was a lesson. Human-fired projectiles at speeds approaching light itself. The shields, designed to stop plasma and missiles, could not handle solid objects moving that fast. Ships exploded before they even knew they were being targeted. Human fighters swarmed through the formations like angry wasps, too small and too fast to track. They planted explosive charges on enemy hulls and disappeared before the explosions occurred. Human electronic warfare systems shut down computers, leaving entire fleets blind and helpless. Ships crashed into each other, weapons fired at allies instead of enemies. Commander watched from his flagship as his fleet died around him. "Impossible," he whispered. "This is impossible." Stood beside him, his old face expressionless. "The elders warned you, Commander. You did not listen." Hal demanded, "How are they doing this?" "Because they are humans," replied simply. "They do not fight to win, they fight to survive, and there is nothing more dangerous than a creature fighting for survival." Within 4 hours, the defense grid was destroyed. Their fleet was scattered. Their orbital stations were silent ruins floating in space. But Admiral did not glass their planet. She did not bomb their cities. She did not massacre their civilians. Instead, she landed troops on the planet where the human prisoners were held. They fought through defenders with brutal efficiency, clearing buildings room by room, never harming those who surrendered. They found the human prisoners in underground cells, starving, injured, terrified, but alive. The security chief who had watched her colony burn was among the first to be rescued. A human soldier cut her restraints and helped her stand. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice hoarse from screaming that no one had answered. "We are from Earth," the soldier replied. "We came to bring you home." Began to cry, not from sadness, from relief, from joy, from the knowledge that she had not been forgotten. Admiral personally led the team that captured Commander. They found him hiding in a bunker beneath his military headquarters, surrounded by guards who surrendered the moment they saw human soldiers approaching. Was dragged before in chains. "What will you do with me?" he asked. For the first time there was fear in his black eyes. "I will take you to the Galactic Assembly," replied. "You will answer for what you did, not to me, to everyone." She leaned closer. "And everyone will see what happens to those who hurt our family." She turned and walked away. "Bring him, we are going home." The Galactic Assembly had never been so quiet. 9,000 delegations sat in their seats, barely breathing. The great hall that had hosted debates for 12 million cycles was completely silent. Every eye, every sensor, every form of perception was focused on the center of the chamber. Commander stood there in chains, his gray skin pale with shame. Beside him stood representatives of the Dominion, their heads bowed in defeat. And behind them stood the humans. Admiral led the delegation. She wore her dress uniform, every medal and ribbon displayed proudly on her chest. Behind her stood officers from every nation on Earth, united in a way that the galaxy had never seen any species unite before. Elder rose from her seat. She was the oldest being in the room. She had watched stars die and civilizations fall, but even she seemed small compared to what stood before her. "Commander of the Dominion," she announced, her voice echoing through the hall. "You stand accused of violating Directive 7 Omega. You attacked a human colony without provocation. You killed 4,000 civilians. You enslaved 8,000 more. How do you answer these charges?" Said nothing. His arrogance had been beaten out of him during the journey to the assembly. He had seen what humans could do. He had no words left. "The evidence is clear," continued. "The Dominion will pay reparations to humanity for the damage caused. Commander will be stripped of his rank and imprisoned for the remainder of his natural life. The military will be reduced by 70% and placed under assembly oversight." She paused. But that is not why we are truly gathered here today. She turned to face the humans. For 3,000 cycles, we watched your species from afar. We saw your potential. We saw your danger. And we chose to leave you alone, hoping that time would soften your edges, that you would become wise before you became powerful. Admiral stepped forward, and instead you abandoned us. You watched us struggle. You watched us nearly destroy ourselves. You could have helped. You chose not to. We were afraid, admitted. We are still afraid. Your fleet destroyed the defense grid in 4 hours. 4 hours. The Dominion was one of the strongest military powers in the galaxy. You broke them like children breaking toys. We did not want to fight, replied. We came in peace. We always come in peace first, but someone took our people. Someone killed our children. We do not forgive that. We do not forget that. And we do not allow it to happen twice. The chamber remained silent. So what happens now? Asked. Will you seek revenge on the Assembly for abandoning you? Will you conquer the galaxy as the tried to do? Shook her head slowly. No, that is not who we are. We do not want to rule others. We do not want to destroy civilizations. We want to explore, to trade, to learn, to make friends. She took another step forward. But understand this. We know you exist now. We know where you live. We know what you are capable of. And you have seen what we are capable of when someone threatens our family. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of delegates from 1,000 different species. We will join your assembly. We will follow your rules. We will be good neighbors. But if anyone ever touches our people again, we will not just come for our own. We will come for everything. Her words hung in the air like thunder after lightning. Bowed her head. We understand, Admiral, and we welcome humanity to the Galactic Assembly. May this be the beginning of a new era for all our peoples. The formal ceremony took several hours. Documents were signed. Agreements were made. Humanity was officially recognized as a member of the galactic community. But the real conversations happened afterward, in quiet corners and private meetings. Ambassador found herself standing next to a young human diplomat who had been assigned to represent Earth at the Assembly. Was 28 years old, with warm eyes and a friendly smile. She looked completely harmless. That terrified more than anything. Your people are remarkable, said carefully. I have studied you for decades. I thought I understood you. I was wrong. Smiled. Most species think they understand us. They see our art and our music and our kindness, and they think we are soft. They do not see what lies beneath. What does lie beneath? Asked. Was quiet for a moment. She looked out a window at the stars beyond. Survival, she said finally. We have survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We have survived meteor strikes and volcanic eruptions and ourselves. We survive because we refuse to die. We adapt. We overcome. We persist. She turned back to. Most species evolve past violence. They grow peaceful. They lose their edge. Humans never did. We just learned to hide it behind smiles and handshakes. We built civilization on top of our animal nature. But the animal is still there, waiting. Shuddered, the elders were right to fear you. Perhaps, agreed. But fear is not the same as understanding. We do not want to be feared. We want to be respected. We want to be left alone to live our lives. We want peace. Her smile faded slightly. But if someone forces us to fight, we will fight until there is nothing left of them or nothing left of us. That is who we are. That is what makes us human. Years later, would tell this story to younger generations. She would explain why Directive 7 Omega existed. She would describe the day humanity joined the Assembly. And she would always end with the same warning. The humans are not evil. They are not monsters. They are survivors. And there is nothing more dangerous in this universe than a survivor who has been pushed too far. She would look out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them, human ships were exploring, trading, and making friends. But also watching, always watching. The elders warned us never to agitate humanity. Someone did not listen, and the galaxy learned a lesson it will never forget. She would pause. Humans come in peace. They prefer peace. They choose peace whenever possible. Her voice would drop to a whisper. But when peace is no longer an option, they are the most terrifying thing the universe has ever seen. And in the great hall of the Galactic Assembly, a small blue flag now hung among thousands of others. It showed a planet called Earth, floating alone in the darkness. No longer alone. No longer weak. And never to be underestimated again.